been feeling just a little bit low. Got to get back to the show and we'll fly. Yeah. You don't have to feel like you're on your own. No one should have to dance alone, not tonight. You and me, we're gonna write a little history. You and me, just show me love and then you'll see. Memories that we make, they are never gonna fade for a lifetime. We don't give no shit if you wanna ride away. We just have to trying to play second feels up in the memory.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to a specifically deranged version of Mini RPG of the Week. I'm still reeling from the news that we announced last week that we are going to LAN, and also, I'm incredibly sleep deprived at the moment. And also, Deployer arrived in about 5 minutes ago to ask to observe, and we've just been trying to sort things out since then. And you know what? We've got it working flawlessly, and everything is going to go well. I have just realized I don't know when he's going to get in game, so hey, Deployer, you're going to figure out tell me when we're getting into game, right? That'll be okay. We'll figure it out. It's great. You love to hear it. We have a map that is perfect for someone who is sleep deprived tonight. A map that is definitely not going to challenge my brain. We have a pathfinding map. A map that is deliberately designed with the idea that there will be multiple routes through it and players will have to figure out the best one over the course of the map. And I'm going to tell everyone up front, I don't think that that's going to go very well for me. And I'm glad, Deployer, the fact that you've turned up to observe just in time to have an awful time trying to figure out who to observe at any given time. It's going to be pretty rough all round, but I think we should be okay. I think we should manage, hopefully, over the course of this to actually get things done, to actually see some good players. And we'll see how good it is. We'll see how many players show up this week after the excitement of announcing Mini RPG of the Week Ultimate last week as well. We've had good turnout for a couple of weeks, so hopefully that continues, and hopefully this is a strong week of competition as well. Rapper this week is TimeAttack, and I could be wrong, but it could have been TimeAttack who made our previous pathfinding map as well. It's been a while since we did one of these kind of very heavy pathfinding / multi-way maps, and so I don't remember if it was TimeAttack as well, but I hope it was, because some of those previous maps were a lot of fun when we did multi-way. And then we're going to see how things go. It shouldn't be too long of a map. Author time is apparently a 56.522, but anything, if there's one thing I kind of trust on a multi-way map, it's that time is going to get absolutely crushed at some point. Players will absolutely just figure out routes that are significantly quicker than that on the way through. And my god, I can see in the server already that there are 96 players. There are people who are not going to get in this week, so that's pretty fun. We'll see how that ends up going for the players as well, and if anyone can't actually get in as a result, maybe we're going to start needing a second server at some point too. But here we are. Look, it's the map. Hopefully people aren't getting deafened by car sounds or anything when we load into this one. I am just going to turn down the sound a little bit, and we'll see how things go. I have, in fact, already turned it down. Minus 15? Well, that's a lot.
20.
No, Jesus, that's I don't think anyone's going to be able to hear anything if we go down to minus 20. But you know what? Here we are, 100 out of 100 people in the server, and nobody has even managed to start driving yet. That's just silly, if we're being honest with ourselves. That's getting a little bit ridiculous. And we'll see if players do go for the GPS. You'd imagine at some point it's probably worth doing. And for the moment, we're going to stay on board with Shinex, who is going to try and figure out what it's doing. Oh. Yep, no, there are 100 players in this server. You cannot leave spectator mode.
101.
101 players out of 100 have joined the server. That is, again, silly. Now, I gotta tell you all, my eyes are on Seafill this week, because Seafill has been attempting to break maps for weeks now, has been looking for reroutes, and has done a decent job of finding some spicy little reroutes and setting world records with them. This is a map that is specifically designed for that is specifically designed to say, hey, can you figure out the fastest way through it? Can you get a little bit creative with it? And I'm hoping Seafill can. I'm hoping we see something a little bit silly through it. The fact it's still sitting at 101 out of 100 players is very entertaining to me. And someone else has just managed to join as well. So I think maybe we're at 102 players out of 100. I don't really know what's going on anymore.
It's an admin, I think.
Maybe. We've also somehow dropped to 0 out of 2 spectators, which might be... Maybe you've been whitelisted, Deployer, and that's why we've dropped to 0 out of 2 spectators, because that's something... But, oh, we're down to 100 players. Huge moment.
Oh, fuck it!
Oh, it's broken again. Oh, dear. This week is going to be a mess. I'll say it up front. It's going to be messy. We have a full 25-minute warm-up as well, something I have only just noticed, which makes sense. In a map like this, you want to give players time to test possibilities, to actually figure out routes, and then still have time to practice them, so that players, feel comfortable going for the routes they have decided. But also, I think I've mentioned, this is my sleep-deprived era. And so, the fact that we have 25 minutes of warm-up and then 100 players to get through in rounds. Oh boy. What a week to not have time to arrange to get a co-caster on. This is me, sending it out there. If anyone wants to join me on this broadcast, it'll be fine. It's possible, actually, that people can hear you, Deployer. I don't know if I've turned off Discord. Oh, they definitely can hear you. You are on stream.
Oh, hi there.
Yeah, no, I've turned you off now. Now you're gone. You're turned off. You could... Okay, do you know what? Yeah, this is a Deployer cast now. Join me.
So, first time they hear my voice, yeah.
Oh, he's on stream. Secret Deployer cast that nobody saw you. And Jaxie's in chat to help keep me sane as well. It's gonna be fine.
I'm gonna delete the video.
The mini RPG of the week video that never saw the light of day. Yeah, we've got the new rich history of producers fully inserting themselves into the broadcast now. Ever since we've started doing more stuff with Thomas, aka Sai, and his willingness to insert himself into the broadcast as producer, it's getting up there. Here you go. I will.
Didn't find the end. Oh, someone found it.
We actually have a finish? My god, Bayron with a 143.064. Here you go, Deployer. Just so you can provide comments without, anyone hearing them. And also so that you can provide comments and then I sound like I've just noticed them myself. I've turned off the Discord audio for stream. So you can say things and then I can repeat them and it looks like I'm smart. It's very important to do these things. It helps me look like a better streamer. Yeah, God, we have to think of lore for this map, and I'll be honest, I think this is some kind of sick and twisted experiment. We're all just rats in the maze, and this is reminding us of that, Let's see how Bayron gets on a second run. Has discovered a route to the finish, and it is still the fastest route to the finish, even with now 4 finishers coming through. And this is Bayron then maybe going for a cleaner run. That doesn't look like a very fun transition. A big release needed for Bayron to actually get the speed to keep that jump going as well. And for the moment, I'm very lost. I don't know where we are on this map and what exactly is happening, but I'm sure that Bayron is starting to figure it out. And you know what? I'm so happy for them. Oh, backwards into ice. That seems disgusting. And then down onto platform. And I do recognize this. We saw Seafill here at some point earlier. Maybe we also saw Bayron here at some point earlier. Which block is that? Is that a cruise control? Oh dear. It's not a cruise control. It's a no steer block, I think, towards the end there. That's cruise control. So you need to get speed here, and then this is no steer to aim into the end as well, which means that Bayron's finish is actually quite difficult, but has improved that record by 6 seconds down to a 1:37. Do we want to see what the GPS looks like? Just to say there is a GPS, and while we know it's probably... Oh yeah, you can't jump out of Spectre. God, we just need to stay on board with someone and then convince them to drive into the GPS for us. Let's find someone who we think we can bully into doing it. Who's on the server at the moment? No, we just need to... Because if we're on board with someone when they drive into GPS, we will join them for the GPS. Jaxie! Jump on board with Jaxie! Hey, Jaxie, you'll drive into the GPS for us, won't you? Yeah, it won't be an issue. Hang on, Jaxie. Don't drive in yet. Jaxie, we need to see the GPS. We'll find you. You're in this list somewhere. Maybe you're not. Maybe just message Lil C and see if they'll drive into the GPS for us. We're on board with Lil C. Maybe they'll do it. Oh god, oh the humanity. It does seem like, you know, there's a this is looking very similar to Bayron's route at the moment anyway. Like very similar. Like maybe they're just driving the same route. That's not going to work on the ice. Need a bit more speed there. Yeah, oh, gonna fall off the side there. This looks like, I mean, there's still going to be difficult tricks. It is not just pathfinding. It is not just about figuring out the fastest way. It is still mini RPG, and it is still about driving the fastest way. And hey, there's still some pretty tough tricks involved in doing so, as Lil C is just trying to pick up speed. And yeah, if you don't have the speed for this section, it looks very difficult. But there you go, with a respawn. Probably need to wrap all the way around, as Lil C has just shown, but it is doable. That crash, I bet, means Lil C can't finish now. I don't think there's enough speed through the cruise control to make it to that finish line. There absolutely is not. See, I'm learning. I am figuring it out. Corzo has been kicked. That's unfortunate. Yeah, there is 101 people in the server at the moment. And oh, we're down to 100. Absolutely massive. Oh, Mutronus, why? Why are we back up to 100? Monsters is the player that we're on board with. Meanwhile, the local record has been improved down to a 1:13. As a reminder, the author time is a 56-second 0.5 or 0.6. I don't remember exactly. So there is time left on this map, and I think there's probably going to be time below that as well. Nearly 7 minutes, nearly 8 minutes gone in our warm-up here, but still 17 left as players are working out their best routes, and once they actually work out the route they want to take, then it'll be time to start grinding for better times. Wait, can we find Jaxie? Jaxie has promised to do GPS if we can, if we can find... You got this, Deployer. I have faith in you. You can find Jaxie in this list of 100 cars. You got this. There you go. Somewhere in here. But Jaxie hasn't driven through a checkpoint recently, so it's probably somewhere near the bottom. Ah, I'm figuring it out. Probably near the bottom. Oh! Oh! Get him! Get him! Click on him! Yeah, there we go. Hey, Jaxie, can we see that GPS real quick? Managed to pin him down. Sniped in that list of 100 names. Yes, here we go into the GPS. Huge! And we get to see it. TimeAttack managed to drive this one. I haven't counted the number of checkpoints as well, so let's do that as we go through and figure out how many there are. Hey Deployer, do you have the Open Planet plugin installed? Yeah, I would actually kind of like to have the checkpoint counter, because it would maybe be interesting. But I think we're gonna figure it out. I've already forgotten to count the checkpoints here, so more than 6. Yeah, sure. That seems reasonable. Someone will tell us. There's probably a mod around somewhere. Oh, yeah. 6, yeah, that would make sense. Yeah, because it's 6 and then Finn is what it's looking like. And then TimeAttack, so yeah. And this is the route, so I mean, this is, obviously we've seen a lot of people going for this route to the finish, because this is also the way the GPS takes, so maybe it makes sense. But we've also seen it's kind of a tough finish this way, because keeping speed here through the cruise control, easier said than done after turning around on that ice. There is a second finish over to the left there, but people just really like this high one. So there you go. This is where we're at the moment. Oh, hey, Yannick's actually made it into the server. I think I saw his name there. Somewhere in the mess of cards. Corzo's back in, maybe, unless that's just Corzo's corpse littering the start line. Current best time, a 1:09 by Cacao, who is actually here as well. Mr. Biglu's a mapper for Mini RPG of the Week, maybe having an advantage as a mapper himself. Scandir also present, so GG's. It'll be interesting seeing who comes second place tonight. And yeah, definitely some interesting names. It will be interesting to see. I think this style of map that kind of, you know, is a little bit different is going to shake things up in the scoreboard a little bit, maybe, as players who are good at pathfinding or figure a better line out may have a better chance. Scandir's route looks wildly different to what we've seen from other people so far, which is exciting. I mean, that's what we hope to see, right? Is players figuring out their own lines. And this is just going fully to the edge right at the start. Carrying speed through the middle here as well. This is also a fairly tough line to take for Scandir. Those are some tough transitions that he's setting himself up for. And it's one of those lines where you're like, even if that is quick, it might be difficult for other players to copy this cleanly. And that, to me, is particularly interesting. Like even just this turn in, keeping speed, and I assume, yeah, you do kind of need to keep speed into these next couple of jumps. Round into it. This is the checkpoint that most everyone else seems to be taking last. So Scandir going for that one very early, but we've seen lack of speed is then the problem here, because that is a long way to jump. And that is a difficult follow-up as well. Yeah, I think this is a route that, if it proves to be quick, could just win the evening for Scandir, because there are a limited number of players who are going to be able to do this consistently in the server. Okay. Interesting. And then, this is Magnet. Of course this is Magnet. Why wouldn't this be Magnet in many ways? And then, what is this bounce? How has Scandir found this route? And how is Scandir... Oh, the finish line. Alright. Sure. Scandir has 13 minutes to practice this. I didn't actually see what time he was on up until the end there. But if this is quick, then good God, people do be in trouble very quickly, I think. We'll see how he goes through this one. That is a checkpoint that Scandir is driven through. Also, the leaderboard is going to be absolutely useless to us over the course of these rounds. Oh, because everyone is taking checkpoints in different orders. So we won't know what's going on literally until the finish line at any given point. And that's scary. We have Snow of BS Plus competition, wishing everyone good luck in the cup rounds, which, yep, fair. Scandir has gained the first place time with 57 seconds, so that route is quick, is functionally the answer to that one, which is pretty fun. Mentos in second place at the moment. Coco still sits in third. Sidzer in fourth, and Bayron in fifth. Having set an early good time, Bayron still hanging out near the top of the leaderboard at the moment. Where's Eugene going? With the Twitter logo. I mean, I guess, look, that nobody uses that logo for anything anymore, so it's probably fine. There are no big companies that use that logo. Ooh, that's a tough jump. Is that jump? It must be possible, right? Yeah, there's cars up in front doing it, but your angle is going to be so important here. If you do what Eugene did there and attempt to kind of cut a little bit, go for very low transition off it by keeping to the right, then it's going to be difficult to stick up. It's a giraffe. Oh, that giraffe is going face first into a wall. Tough times for the giraffe population of the Trackmania servers. Oh. The speed here is difficult. I think we did see it. I can't remember who it was. We were watching Reset a lot here earlier. But even if you go for the double respawn into this turnover on the plastic into the ice, it is possible that we'll see players needing to actually wrap around and pick up a little bit of speed. Giraffe's going to crash again. This respawn is probably just about doable for Giraffe, but you still need to aim well, and you still need to actually get this turnaround pretty cleanly. And that is full reverse into full forward into should be enough. But that's very, very low speed heading towards this. Now, that should be speed enough to make it here as long as you aim well, but that's maybe too far to the right. That's okay. Giraffe gets across the line. Huge moment. Oh, we're back into the GPS. No, we're out of the GPS. Capitaine Zarbi. Go on. Go on, Capitaine, my Capitaine. Good jump. That's clean. And yeah, so you can cleanly get that finish as well as fun. Scandir has improved the time down to a 56.8. Is the player currently closest to actually getting an author time. Which nobody has yet done, because the author time is 56.522. So we are now 15 minutes into Discovery on this map. Nobody has beaten the author time just yet. Pretty fun. Captain's RB is going to find somewhere to get stuck. It's a massive gap between Scandir and everyone else. In fact, like, I mean, it's a massive gap between Mentos and Coco as well. There is a 13-second gap from first to third, and we've been playing the map for 15 minutes already. That's pretty wild. That's normally not how these things go, but normally we're not doing full multi-way tracks. Normally we are not forcing players to think for themselves as much as they are having to here. And even the GPS way, which, you know, quick enough, but not the quickest possible right through the map, still difficult. Still a tough map to drive overall. So some issues being caused. And I'll say it, I think we're going to see massive amounts of eliminations in the first round. I think we're going to see, like, 25, 20... I think I'm going to call 26 players eliminated at round 1. A quarter of the field gone in one go. And I think that's fair, because... I mean, look, have you seen this map? Even this landing here, which is part of the GPS route, a little bit difficult. You do need a little bit of releasing. It's a little bit of car control. And then this turnaround as well seems to be causing a lot of problems, because it is not just aim. It's managing to get the speed to get up on that ice, turn around, and keep speed through this checkpoint as well. Not the cleanest exit off the dirt there for Bo, but it should be quick enough to make the finish with a well-aimed jump. Just about. Very nice. Haven't really seen anyone going for the other finish, I believe, as we are on board with Tunix, who's going to fall off the track. But there is a second finish on this map as well, just to the left of where we've seen everyone jumping in. Oh, he's cooking right now. Double respawn strats in the run. Interesting. Tunix, 30 seconds into this run. How many checkpoints have they actually gone through? I don't know. I would say that is probably 4 or 5. Ooh, that looks... We've seen a couple of players think about this jump. It looks hard, but looks doable. That's definitely doable. Which is interesting. So there's got to be at least one more checkpoint somewhere. Or this is the checkpoint that I kept thinking was another finish. It's not a finish, it's just another checkpoint that Tunix has just had to go for. At 57 seconds into this run, but with a couple of unintended respawns as well. This checkpoint, the fact that this is the last one on this route, I don't think this can be... Or is this the second last one? It's just such a long way to go back from this checkpoint to the finish. Oh, there is one more there. And then where are you going from here? What's the plan from here? Reset block? Yeah. Yeah, I don't think this is it, Chief. It really is just about, on a map like this, you know, making sure you're never being inefficient, though. That you're never making very long dashes across the map for, you know, very little gain. That it's not coast to coast to pick up different checkpoints. Yagu's going to fly completely over that checkpoint. Figuring out the landing on this one, it seems like it could be a very quick way into the finish if that is your final checkpoint. But by God, this is a difficult finish line to hit. It's obviously much quicker than going the long way around, going through the cruise control as we've seen a lot of other cars doing, and trying to go into the finish through that jump with the no steer on. But inconsistency, potentially a killer on that line. Over 6 minutes left at this point, and well, we're still going. Players are still experimenting, and we're starting to run out of time for that to be the case. At some point, you kind of do just need to lock in or out and try and practice that consistency on it. Make sure that when it comes down to it, you're going to be able to execute in rounds. Yog is going for the line that we saw Scandir take. If you do clip there, you're in a lot of trouble. I believe you should still be able to get there from the left, no? If you go down there, it's going to be obviously much slower if you do drop down to the left. But it should be doable? Going for speed? Yeah, like just drop down to the left. There's the platform extends around there. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm dumb. But I feel like that's maybe savable in rounds. It's obviously going to be much slower. But, you know, at least being able to finish is better than not being able to finish at all. Actually has a route, has a finish, and is looking to maybe just improve on that now. And I think that's probably the mindset that a lot of players are starting to get into now. That's very much where you have to be, is starting to lock things in now. We are seeing that as kind of records starting to get improved and pushed at the top. Scandir is down to a 55.2, but while we weren't looking, well, while I wasn't looking, Deployer clearly was, because we are now spectating Beta Toast. Beta Toast has also managed to beat the author time, but won't improve on it this time around. A clip there, and again, look, there's a platform to the left. Can you get... Yeah, like, right? You can just safe this by going to the left if you don't have the speed to make that second block. So a clip there is not a death sentence on the first platform, but it is going to mean big time losses, potentially, as well. And I think that's kind of what we said when we saw Scandir going for the lines like this early on in his run, that it was going to be maybe quick, but potentially very difficult as well. I think this does kind of seem to now be the route that a lot of the top players have started going for, is what we saw Scandir pioneering pretty early on. and I say pretty early on. It was still pretty deep into the warm-up, but it's starting to look like there's a little bit of agreement near the top of the leaderboard. Although this jump is just going to end rounds for people. And is that enough to abandon this run? Honestly, like, I mean, we're going to see some really good players lose this match to that jump. I think it is inevitable at this point. I've been given texts. Read them later. It'll be fine. Top of the leaderboard. Anyone else going to get this AT? Hazard has. Managing to overtake Beta as well. And I think with how close those times are, except for Scandir's, and I'm willing to just chalk that up to Scandir being insane at Mini RPG, I think we're starting to definitely see a lot of players go for this route. Ice trying to go right of the pillar is really interesting. God, this jump is so rough. Just so rough. Ice will get it once through here. And the reset, at least, to try it a couple of times, as long as you have a decent checkpoint before it, isn't the worst in the world. Not losing huge amounts of time going for it. This transition going to be relevant as well. And then it's this flip into the upside down one, and it is then, I believe, just this bounce finish into it, which, as we said, looks hard, but it is very doable. And once you get that, that is, I think, where a lot of the time save comes in, honestly, is just the fact that you're set up to go for that specific finish, which is so much quicker than having to go the long way around through the cruise control. We'll see with 2 minutes left. Can Scandir improve? Nope, not on that run. Going to touch a wall and reset. But it's down to a 54.5. Scandir is 2 seconds clear of anyone else on the server, because Scandir is nuts. It's just, it's wild. It's absolutely insane. Very interesting. We have 6 players who've broken the minute barrier. Gunshore Gun, currently the 6th of those, but was one of the earlier ones to manage to do it as well. Currently sitting behind Scandir, Hazard, Beta Toast Uso, and Artis. Names that you're maybe not massively surprised to see sitting up there having done that. And that's just Scandir getting those jumps cleaner even than Hazard, who did get them cleanly. And this is a really interesting comparison right now. As Scandir and Hazard, the top 2 times havers on the server, are essentially racing. You can just see Scandir is just a little bit more aggressive, it feels like, at the moment. On Hazard trying to be aggressive through there, ended up flipping the car, falling apart entirely. And Scandir, one more time, finish time of 55.6. So Scandir consistently, I think, already getting better times than anyone else is capable of getting once. Which, yeah, that's Scandir, baby. Just an incredibly impressive driver all around. And we'll be playing in the World Championship Wildcard Knockout stage this weekend as well, which should be good fun. So hopefully we're not eating into practice time too much for them. Hopefully Scandir goes out this weekend. We can blame it on the 25-minute warm-up for Mini RPG the week instead of 15. Really eating into the practice time on those World Tour maps. Gotta give him the out. Oh, little touch by Artis. Still gets through there. And actually, it's not a massive time loss, but it will be, you know, a few tenths, obviously. Maybe a half a second. Tifo going for something pretty interesting around the outside there. So we'll try and see what that ends up looking like during rounds. Artis on a solid run right now. Pretty quick. And as you can tell, the players who've just gone for something completely different. Kaurim at first place on all of those checkpoints, and then, you know, not anymore. Taking obviously a very different route through. How's this finish looking for Artis? Pretty good, and a 56.078 is very, very solid. And that's it. Hope your runs are locked in. I hope people have figured out their route by now, because, oof, we're going straight into it. At least 10 runs, at least 10 players eliminated? Surely not. Have we upped the numbers of elimination in round 1? I'm still going for a quarter. I'm going for 26. I'm going for just over a quarter of the field eliminated. We do, in theory, have less than 100 players, as some players have dropped out. So if you think you could jump in now and figure out a route live in round 1, hey, there's room in the server. Go on, get in there. It'll probably work. I have faith. Well, it's still going to be... I'm going to stick with 26 players still being eliminated in round 1, because My god. The problem is not just a very difficult map to finish, not just so many different alternate routes. It is also that Scandir is here, and Scandir is going about a second faster than anyone else is capable of consistently, which just also means that, yeah, the lockout timer is going to start pretty early. We do have players joining kind of randomly here. Right in the middle of the no elimination round. There is Scandir with a 55.5 and Seafill. No one else has finished yet. I believe Vortex second finish with a 5.673. So yeah, there you go. The no elimination round, and Scandir is 5 seconds faster than anyone else. That makes sense. That tracks. Oh, did Yannick's not finish there? Just bouncing fully off the finish. That's pretty funny. That's an interesting route. Ah. Wet tires onto ice then, into what we now know is definitely the slower finish way as well. Compared to if you can get through that other checkpoint onto the upside down magnet and into it. And it's just a faster way to get to the finish. Oh, that bounce. And what is the finish timeout is a great question. At least a minute. 1 minute and 15 seconds for the finish timeout, at least in the first round. 27 people out, says Black Pulse. You know what? It's a good number. I did spot Marius saying 36. Honestly, yeah, maybe. 21 people for Jaxie. 8 years for a finish timeout. Someone has joined just now. Oh boy. Well, here we go. We are into Sky Maze by Team Music. And it's going to be rough out there. 10 players will be eliminated, so slightly more players eliminated in round 1, up from the 8. So it can't be 2. We know this. It's at least 10. But you know what? Maybe everyone just finishes tied, and they actually tie on every checkpoint from there to the finish. And it is kind of an interesting thing to note on this map, is that I don't know how it would do countbacks. If you had 2 players finish at the same time, normally the rule, it counts back to who was first through the previous checkpoint. But what if they went through different checkpoints as their last checkpoint? Does it still just take the earlier checkpoint time for their final checkpoint and use that? But that just favors if you have a route that, you know, has a long gap from the last checkpoint to the finish line. That's interesting. I doubt it'll come up, but, you know, it's interesting. 3 players have already DNF'd, fair enough. Tomote is going to be attempting to go for the slightly riskier route. Looks good to me. It is good. Tomote is safely through in 9th place. Scandir set a 55.2 in 1st place because, yeah, no, that's, of course Scandir did. It's absurd. We have a minute left for players to get to the line. Players in 33rd place or so. That's 32nd for Choco. Finishing now, about 30 seconds down. So that's worrying. For a lot of the field, Colo is just trying to force the car into that gap, and it simply will not go. You need to be a little bit more sideways. There you go. That'll get down there this time around. And we'll be going for this upside down finish. That's not going to land it. Needs to have a second go at that. Is starting to run out of time. Needs to nail this finish on one of a couple of attempts. That's not enough speed. You got to reset. There's 25 seconds left. Colo, don't give up. You got to drive. You gotta go! Surely there's not enough speed here for this to work. It might work anyway. Isn't going to go for the bounce. Just go straight into the finish, and there you go. Will manage to finish. That was 67th place. I'm telling you, I'm feeling pretty good about my 26 players eliminated right now. Nest to the finish line. Looking like 70th place. Oh boy. 20. That means 25. I think we're below the number of players I said eliminated already. It's 21 players eliminated in round 1. Jaxie has nailed it. Pretty impressive. Pretty impressive. And I think this seems likely to me to be one of those weeks. The names just continue to scroll. Boat Tiger is the last player eliminated. Bateau Tigre. This is one of those weeks where I think we're going to see more than the minimum number of eliminations again in round 2. It just feels very likely to me. Although it is 10 players again, we have changed the player elimination numbers when we have over 60 players. I think Zederate has probably seen previous weeks of, you know, having filled the server a lot recently. But yeah, maybe it's time to get through some of these early rounds just a little bit quicker rather than doing 8 eliminations. So it just knocks a couple of rounds off the final total. Yezop is nearly flipping that car over, keeps it stable, but will be dropping down that leaderboard quite a lot. Again, the leaderboard on the left means absolutely nothing at the moment. As players take these checkpoints in different order, the game does not know where to properly rank them. That was a really clean jump from Yezop. That's the risk. You can go a little bit further to the right if that is the jump that you're taking. The further right you go, the smoother your potential transition, but the more likely you are to just fully crash that jump as well. Oh, signs. Oh, still alive. Yezop should be safe here, right? Should be safe. There you go, down to 59th. Just needs to hit this jump. This is probably really the last big danger. It's so much airtime. Needs to turn this car around. Ice slide up the hill. There you go. Yezop saves it, but has lost a lot of time. Trying to gain speed, nearly crashing as well. And that crash means, yeah, having to go wide to get enough speed through this cruise control. Should be well safe up to the finish line here, and it may just be 10 players eliminated. There you go. Wendigo is still a little ways back. Ness was slipping off the ice one more time just there. Needs to turn this car around. It's going to be a very slow turnaround. Not maintaining any speed through it was Wendigo, and is down into the elimination zones. But surely there's a couple of players failing the finish up ahead. And Wendigo in 65th place is, I believe, actually just eliminated. Because it's a 10-player elimination. We'll see when we get onto it, but I think Wendigo only just eliminated in that round. I don't remember the time for the GPS, but I do remember the author time, which was 56.522. I'm not sure if the GPS does show the author time or if it's a little bit slower. And there you go. Wendigo did finish in 65th place, not quite able to sneak across the line in time. And Eugene Labalaine has been eliminated as well. And can we just get a quick check of the scoreboard? Has Scandir managed to improve that first place time? Any... No, it's still a 54.5, but it is still a second ahead of anyone else. So, you know what? Yeah, fair enough. And Scandir's consistent round-winning times do seem to be just above the limit of what anyone else can even achieve. So that's fun for the rest of the server, I guess. Golo is going to be driving through this one. A couple of unfortunate respawns do mean that this is now starting to feel the pinch a little bit. And again, one of the kind of features of a track like this is you really don't have a great idea of how safe you are up until you cross the finish line. And so mistakes like the ones that Colo made early in the track, mistakes where you maybe feel like you lost a lot of time, they're punishing, but you can't be sure how punishing. And so there's kind of then no option but to go a little bit risky through the rest of the map, because on another track, even if you make a mistake, maybe you still know when you can safe. But right now, you just feel that pinch. You know that you've lost time, and so, well, time to push. Time to try and get through it. This has been a very clean rest of the run, though, for Colo, and so you'd imagine now 29 through that last checkpoint and into the finish, it's 19th. Great recovery drive. And proof that, yep, you can make a couple of mistakes yet and be totally fine. Golio just about makes it. That was dangerous. Mentos potentially eliminated, which is interesting, given they were doing very well on the TimeAttack leaderboard for the maps. But maybe is actually DNF'd. We'll wait and see if that is a real DNF or if it is a fake DNF and the server is lying to me. Yes, up. We'll make it through that time around, but in 56th place, we'll still be eliminated. 10 eliminations is a lot, but that will be our final round of 10 eliminations. And, well, we'll see who actually is eliminated here. Is there someone who thinks they're safe who will see Jam and Mentos mysteriously disappear from that? Nope, Mentos and Jam actually eliminated. And everyone in front of them as well. Shinex gone too. Yezop and Nut Harry. We did have Nut Harry in the in-game chat just before the round started saying they were absolutely not confident in their route. And unfortunately for them, they seem to have been correct. Someone was turning left off the start line. Interesting. Very interesting. Hopefully we do still see a little bit of variety as we head towards some of the later players. And you can see there, we are just seeing splits. There was multiple different routes being taken. But I will say that given the players that are in this particular group right now, this probably seems like this is the path to be on if you want to ultimately win today. And as we kind of suspected, that jump really still going to separate them out. I believe Scandir may have made a mistake that time around, but still unlikely that Scandir does go out. Oh no, Scandir's not made a mistake. He's literally just a second and a half in front of everyone right now. Didn't see Scandir in the group. Ooh, Artis is turtled. I did not see Scandir in the group of cars, and I was like, oh, he must have made a mistake on that middle jump. I saw a lot of people doing it, and I was like, oh no, he's literally just already driven off into the distance. Oh, he did make a mistake this time, though, so you know what? Oh, Colo. That's such a difficult jump. So hard to judge, getting all that momentum off the magnet. Colo running out of time and places, maybe. There's a lot of finishes coming through. 28th, 29th, continuing to drop down to 30th, 32nd. Should be safe, though, in 30th place, as there is going to be 54 Scandir. Still not finished? Question mark? Scandir DNF? Scandir has hit the minus in chat. And Scandir has left. So, despite winning the last few weeks of Mini RPG of the Week pretty comfortably, despite being by far the fastest player on the server right now, Scandir has decided that he will no longer be playing the track tonight and has bailed. So, 8 more players eliminated them. Among them, I think definitely one of the favorites for tonight. Scandir is gone. And, well, it's definitely open at the top now. And as Yogg points out, that fast way that a lot of the top players are doing is really difficult. Maybe too difficult. And I do genuinely wonder, you know, if they couldn't just save a bit of time, go for something a little bit safer. I feel like this is a week to do it on a track like this. Especially when you know how risky that is. You're not looking to set world records right now. It doesn't matter how much you win a map by. Just getting across that line ahead of the bulk of other players is all that matters, and it will be all that matters for a very long time here. And it could be interesting to see how far Marius goes. I'm not sure exactly what path Marius is on at the moment, but the fact that he appears very differently on the checkpoints to the players who are going for that kind of risky route does suggest to me that he's doing something maybe a little bit safer, which is interesting. We'll see how that ends up going. Is still going for this finish, which players do seem to have just kind of universally decided on. Maybe Marius is just that quick. Because this round, that's a 55-second time. That is very, very fast. Aquioz going for it. Alpha Dream potentially at risk of being eliminated on this round. Yorsh, who was struggling a little bit with their routing as well, potentially at risk this round. Really needs some people in front to have failed the finish. Doesn't look like it. I did see Jaxi jumping into the finish up there. Yorsh maybe beating Aquioz, who didn't manage to finish. No, did fall into the finish ultimately, but both of them will be eliminated along with them. Alpha Dream as well in 45th place is Undire, who's not quite going to make the finish line there. Yeah, it's look, these multi-way maps are wild for quick learn, and the problem is they're a struggle for players to learn. But equally, they kind of only really work in a quick learn format, right? If you have them just on time attack, it becomes the optimal path gets figured out quite quickly. You know, I think we're getting close to seeing an optimal path worked out on this track already. There's a lot of drivers up the top setting very good times. Mr. Bigloos, where are you going there, buddy? Now, how does that help? What exactly is the plan there? Wait, does he must just be looking for a lot of speed for something. But what? But yeah, the fact that there is kind of an optimal route that players work out quite quickly means that if you release something like this purely for time attack or for a learned competition, rather than a quick learn competition, everyone just shows up and drives the same path, which is, you know, it's just something different. It's a little bit of a, spicy flavor going on. Let's hope Mr. Bigloos doesn't get eliminated, because I kind of want to figure out what the hell is going on with that start strat in some round after this. At the moment, according to the splits, it's not looking great, but we all know that the splits are dirty, dirty liars on this track. And so, who knows? Although that is 38th out of 38 through that checkpoint, and you have to hope that there's not many checkpoints left for Mr. Bigloos. There shouldn't be. In fact, there are plenty of players who will still be going for the upside down track here. Who will be going into the plastic bounce into ice, and Mr. Bigloos should just be going straight for the magnet. No, does have to go for the plastic bounce on this one. So whatever the routing was, it's long, and it may just have come back to bite Mr. Bigloos in this round, as they are going to be a long way from the finish with most cars in front already finishing as well. Hang on, though. Oh, 33rd. And Jaxie just behind as well. Looks like both just about eliminated with 3,000ths between them. It was close. It was very close. We are down to 6 eliminations. Have been for a little while now. And, well, we'll be down to less, I believe, after this round. 4 eliminations after this. There we go. 5 respawns on the last checkpoint for Jaxie is... there's a lot. My advice would be try and respawn less. I'm very good at what I do. And what I do is armchair coaching. Uso, having a good time of it. The players from Gravity looking good. And specifically Uso. I do like their graded black and white logo at the moment. Very nice. I can't complain about the format to, you know, try and let players stay in. Ooh, so... Oh, that's such a tough jump. Again, there is a drop down to the left there. Deployer, I'm not losing my mind, am I? You're the player you're the person who can tell me the most quickly, right? Like, even if you clip that big platform, you can drop down to the left. Like, you don't need to go for the second jump onto the ring, right? Like, I'm not going crazy. There is a safe route there that players refuse to engage with. Which, I mean, I guess, look, maybe you lose so much time going for that versus just you lose more than you would if you just respawn and go for the risky route again. But it would mean that, like, you know, you're taking a little bit less risk on. And we've seen players already in chat talking about how risky that risky way is. And it is that jump in particular to me that really defines that. It's, I don't know. It do be interesting. Good finish for Seafill. Leon is going to be through as well. Tunics potentially eliminated on this round. Players been doing very well in recent weeks. Red blue is the club tag, and it'll be a finish 3/10 ahead of Lil C to keep Tunics alive in the competition for a little while longer. But Pun Pun will be eliminated, and so will Lewis. That's tough. It's always sad that we have to say goodbye to so many players. We started with 93, and we have to eliminate 92 players. How's that fair? You know. Oh boy, can't wait to get into bed after this. It's gonna be great. I'm gonna sleep so well. This is the level of commentary we're at now. Just me talking about climbing into bed. The Annex is about as far from Bedge as you can imagine right now, though. Looking very strong. And again, the fact that Scandir got eliminated 54th place, just DNFing out of the competition, means that, yeah, definitely a chance for one of these other top players to manage to put their mark on the competition. In fact, where are we in terms of the overall leaderboards? We used to have this in the... I don't know. We had this in our private Discord server for the staff, where there was the thing. Oh dear, my brain has shut down. You know the thing, the spreadsheet with the past winners and stuff that was up to date, and I've lost it. So that's cool. Was it a Google? I don't think it was a Google sheet, though. I think it was just a thing. It was an actual Excel spreadsheet that Zedorate had been updating for us, which was very funny because I love you, Zedorate, but clicking on one of your like pivot tables and seeing pivot table number 72 when there's like 4 tables in that spreadsheet is a very good sign of exactly how that spreadsheet came to work. Not ideal. Oh, God bless table 72. It's my favorite table. Yeah, Marius predicting a death on this finish, and I think that's fair enough. The finish is tough. Deployer, oh, there you go. The stream froze for a second there, but you know what? We're in it. We're in it to win it. Yeah, people are DDoSing the stream. It makes perfect sense. Ice... still alive in this competition. Again, big group of very good players are all taking the same route through the track, and that to me means that probably in these final rounds as well, as we cut down towards the top 10, we are going to be seeing just pure execution be what matters. But for the moment, just outside the top 20, there is still a variety of routes being taken. There is still plenty of diversity in what the players are doing. There's a group. Ooh, Yannick's is doing something different at the finish line. That's interesting. Ice is also doing something different, but in Ice's case, what he's doing different is crashing, which is... it's not a good thing to do differently, necessarily. Ice is going to fall off. This is starting to look a little bit dangerous for Ice. Should still have plenty of time. Just about managed to stick on that time around. Off the ceiling and down. That's very safe. 13th place. Still A-okay for Ice. Colo a little bit on the edge of elimination there, but did manage to make it through. And I think, am I being lied to by the leaderboard? Leon, lucky bounce, unlucky bounce. Oh, that's rough. There is still places up for grabs, I think, although Zafly might have been the last player to get through there. I think they were. Leon is still trying to make it across this finish line. 20 seconds left, and there is everyone else getting across there. Nadasa is going to be the final player to finish in this round. It's 22nd place, and we are down under 20 players remaining in week 24. My god, we are nearly done Season 3 of Mini RPG of the Week. We have one more regular week to go. And of course, arrangements are being made for the finals. Not quite as we speak, but behind the scenes, things are being set up for our Season 3 finale, and details are to come on that one over the next little while. Obviously, there's a lot of other competition ongoing at the moment, so trying to make sure that we don't clash heavily with those, that we don't annoy players by making them take time out of busy schedules and play more Trackmania. Although again, you know, like kind of, it's going to be fun. And at least these tracks are voted on. We know players played them already. Tunix is going for something very different. A lot of turnarounds. And I think we saw this in the warm-up. Correct me if I'm wrong. But Tunix was kind of testing some double respawn strats back then as well. And this is potentially very quick from Tunix. It is going to be, I think, probably about a minute though. I'm not sure if there were any respawns earlier on in this route. But this is, if there weren't, then this route for Tunix is probably safer, but has a lower potential peak. Fourth place, though. It is, as we guessed, about a minute remaining. Or sorry, about a minute gone by the time they get to the finish line, but it is okay. Artis, 16th. Oh, just about made it in there. Seafill will be eliminated 3 seconds behind Artis. That means Dobry, Corzo, and Cowrim also gone as well. That'll be our final round of 4 eliminations, I believe. No, not quite, due to a different format tonight, specifically just because of the longer map, the rest of how things were working. We will have one more round of 4 eliminations, which means that this is officially going to be the single most brutal round of 4 eliminations we've ever had on Mini RPG of the Week, because we are dropping from 14 players down to 10, which, oof. Also get your ... dots in. As, you know, interesting. Oh, the checkpoints do have colors. I could use them to discuss the paths. If I wasn't sleep deprived, that would have been very useful. But as it is, yeah, we are going to get rid of 25% of players in this round. 4 out of the 16 players remaining will be eliminated, and that's, well, that's tough. I think it's going to be pretty tough. Antoine and Club going for something very different to a lot of the remaining players. I believe this is, it's not quite the GPS route, but it's not far off it. Obviously at this point it has diverged from it. Vortex is going to be cruising on through for the moment. Artis, I may have gone for the slightly safer route that time around off that platform. So players maybe are using that slightly safer way over to the left now at this point. Or maybe they're just on a completely different route. They seem to have disappeared from out in front of Vortex. I don't know. We'll see when we get there. Vortex just about saves that. Good car control. He's not going to be able to land the flip, and that may be punishing. We are at a point where I don't know how many mistakes like that you can afford. There's another one. Vortex, I would have to say, probably all but eliminated at this point. We've seen Artis going past Vortex to the finish line, and it is going to be 15th place. Golio, Antoine, and Manchmois Lebole also eliminated as Manchmois sails into the sky like a whale doing a flip. You know, you ever see those videos where the whale jumps out of the sea and does a majestic, slow roll through the air? That's exactly what it looks like when the cars miss the magnet on that jump. Maybe they are slight. There are 2 green checkpoints, but maybe they're different shades of green. Who knows? I personally do not. Good performance. Pretty tough all round. And Manchmalabole getting some congratulations in chat for reaching a top 16. It is a very strong performance. And we'll get a little bit of a pause for players to get those congratulations in. That's definitely what that was. Deliberate. Planned. And here's an interesting round. It's not always that we do have it fall so that exactly whether you make it through a round or not determines whether or not you make the Liquipedia page and make that top 10. But that is the case here. Anyone who's eliminated in this round will not live on in glory in what has been a very difficult map and a very tough week of competition. But as things stand, a lot of the usual suspects are still present. Tunix, Hazard, Beta Toast, Artis, Ice, Yannick, Marius. These are names that we see week in, week out. And Yannick is going to lose a lot of speed. Artis will make it through cleanly. Didn't see if Yannick, I think, did respawn. Did not go for that. No, did go for that drop down to the left. So there are players now using it, which is interesting to see. Players have started to go for that safer way, not just respawning if they clip a wheel there. It has worked out for Yannick here, who still sits probably in the top 8, although we'll see how things actually sit at the finish line. Can you make this jump? Yep. Everyone here at the moment looking pretty comfortable on it. Yannick's looking to get overtaken. Lost Sheep has missed. Is that still going to bounce in? It doesn't look like it. I don't know if Lost Sheep could have given that an extra second to try, and the respawn has definitely cost them. Oof. I think it would have been worth just hoping the bounce was favourable there. At this point of competition, a respawn that costs you 6 seconds, more likely to put you out than anything else. But Lost Sheep, 11th place, nothing to sniff at. Colo going to be eliminated as well. Our top 10 is locked in for week 24, season 3. As we say, it is a potentially very stacked one. We get a quick look at the times and just see how these players are stacking up at the moment as well. Scandir, nobody has beaten his time, even though he's not been here for a while, but Hazard has closed to within 4/10 of it. Marius doing very well as well. And then Worker, who was here and who I did not see get eliminated, unless they are playing under a different name and they're just showing up stat on the scoreboard, but I don't think so. So that's an interesting one. I'd have to go back and check the tapes to see when Worker got eliminated. But otherwise, all of these players with very solid times, and probably anyone's for the grab at the moment. Oh, Tunix seems likely to be eliminated this round, and the same goes for maybe Hazard, although Hazard on a very different line. Tunix is gone. That's, yeah, DNF. Hazard cruising on through to the finish line as well. Is a little bit behind when it comes down to how many checkpoints are required still for Hazard on the way to the finish, and I think you're running out of potential deviations in the path as well. It means everyone in front is on the same line, but there's Beta respawning, and that means this is just a straight race to the finish. As long as nobody else has respawned, whoever gets this finish a little bit cleaner, likely to win it. Hazard is going to fall in, but Tomote did respawn, and Tomote finishes just a couple of seconds behind, meaning Beta Toast and Hazard both safely through. 2 more eliminations. Tunix taking a very different route, going for a safer route that was about a minute long, but it does not prove safe enough, as Tunix does get eliminated in 10th place. Yannick has meanwhile improved their PB down to a 56.137. So good time to be improving the PBs, to maybe be peaking a little bit in form and consistency on the map, as some players go for a little bit of a jump trick in that start, and Hazard does the best of them going for it. Yannick sits, well, I was going to say was in last place, but carrying more speed through that section means overtakes everyone. Hazard going for a wide line, and we've seen this, carries a huge amount of speed up the hill then. I don't know if other people had noticed him overtaking on that plastic, but the issue is it is plastic, and it is so easy then for Hazard to slow down. Artis and Hazard are both going to go for this left way, a safe way round the side, but Artis in particular having to go backwards, missed the checkpoint, and that's cost a lot of time to Artis. Hazard trailing Yannick to that finish. Artis and Beta Toast are a long way down. Beta was not lucky necessarily to survive that last round, but was a little bit tough. Hazard is going to roll the car and get to that finish. It's just behind the fly, and will get that jump first time of asking. Artis and Beta Toast are still behind, but you have to imagine they're closing in at this point. Hazard into the finish line, 6th place, and Artis was gaining, but it wasn't enough by the finish line. Artis and Beta Toast 7th and 8th place. Whew. The Fly, 5th in this round. Interestingly, only is the 21st best time on the server. So is not the quickest player remaining, not by any stretch of the imagination, but is managing to hold on, just staying consistent. So absolutely massive performance from the player so far. And Beta's just going to sit there, let time run out, and get eliminated with a strong 8th place finish this week. into our top 6. One player to be eliminated from here on out. Can the Fly keep the miracle run going all the way to a podium? It'd be lovely to see. We did question at the top of the broadcast if there was going to be the potential for this kind of format, this multi-route style, to shake things up, and definitely does seem to be the case a little bit. And the Fly is going for a completely different route to everyone else, as is Marius, separating from the group at this point, picking up this checkpoint much earlier than everyone else, and going for a low, slow turnaround onto this plastic. This is a jump that we did kind of see Tunix going for as well. This is where it fell apart for Tunix, but Marius has been safely through. And this is a clean jump over onto the ice. Still a couple of checkpoints left to go for Marius, I believe. This is not his last one. Yeah, it does have to go back for that final checkpoint that everyone else gets as well. So that'll be where the time loss comes through for Marius, and then going for that finish. So it's still quick for Marius. It is still a very fast route potentially as well. We'll see where he does finish. Hazard overtakes by 61 thousandths into the finish. So that's interesting. Marius's route can definitely compete on time with the route that 4 of the other top drivers are taking. The Fly did finish, so the Fly stays alive in 5th place, and the miracle run continues. Yeah, Dobry, it's a weird one, 4 rounds, but equally, I think a quick learn is the only time that you can play a map like this. Otherwise, if this is a competition that you kind of learn for, it seems likely the kind of optimal routes get found out quite quickly. Although, you could still do it, and it would be very exciting to see players potentially bring a different route. I don't know. It's a fun map style, and it is nice to at least try different things every now and then, you know? Here we go, top 5, and as we say, the Fly is the miracle run, and that was Marius, I believe, full crashing somewhere behind us. Or was it Hazard? Someone's full crashed anyway, and it may not have been Marius, who does still seem to be clicking through those checkpoints nicely. So, yeah, I think that was Hazard who just fully crashed on out. As we'll see Uso follow behind Yannick's at the moment. The only 2 players on this route at the moment. Hazard also taking this route, but a long way behind them. The Fly safely on his own route, which is unique compared to the other top 5, and Marius, who diverges after the first few turns. Hazard, yeah, just a long way down. Really relying now on someone. Marius improves to 2nd best on the server with an alternate route. So this is interesting. Marius making a late push with a very fast route, and the Fly going to be eliminated. Missed the finish just a couple of times there, and unfortunately that will mean Yannick snipes to get through, and Hazard managed to overtake Yannick as well. The Fly will finish out that last round though, and a top 5 is very impressive. But what a stacked top 4 this is then. Marius, Hazard, and Yannick. It has been a while since Marius won an edition of Mini RPG of the Week. I'm not sure if he has won an edition in Season 3 yet, but I think a golden opportunity to do so here. Yannick's with the chance to maybe catch up to Hazard a little bit, and Hazard with a chance to extend that title as the winningest Mini RPG of the Week player of all time. And also Uso is still here. And I don't want to count any of these 4 players out. Marius, it's so interesting that Marius has what currently looks like the quickest route out of these 4 players, and it takes him through a freewheel block. It's a scary thing to do, is when you're in competitive rounds, go through a freewheel block when maybe you don't have to. But Marius, it's been working. Heading the opposite direction to these players, Yannick has fallen behind Hazard and Uso now, and that could be it for Yannick. If neither player makes a mistake to finish, and that's a big if. This finish is still difficult. Can Yannick get it cleanly and put the pressure on both of the players in front? Is anyone responding? Do we see anyone nearby? I see Hazard, I see Uso, both going for the jump. Do they get across the line? I think they have both gotten across the line, and Yannick has over-jumped it anyway. Everyone else has finished. That means Yannick will be eliminated. 4th place. Pretty good. My bet's on Marius right now. Hazard has asked if Marius can simply share the secrets of their route. Might be a little bit late to start to learn something new on this one. Keep an eye on it now. We head around this turn, and all of a sudden, Marius heads off into the distance. Full end of whichever Fast and the Furious movie that was, where Paul Walker and Vin Diesel just split off on different roads. That's exactly what's happening there. And Marius driving off to the left is therefore Vin Diesel. Hazard trails Uso at the moment, and I think the battle between these two in this round is particularly relevant. Assuming Marius doesn't make any big mistakes, that route does look to be just consistently going a little bit quicker than the others. So the fact that Marius is safe at the moment means that unless Hazard can overtake Uso, this could be it for Hazard. But that's aggressive then from Hazard. Will have more speed than Uso. That was exactly what Hazard needed. They thrum in just a little bit behind Marius, but Uso had the better landing, and Hazard looking like the player to be eliminated. Uso missed. And Hazard safely through with that finish, claiming one more life. Uso will get it the second time of asking, but second time is only good enough for third place. Your final is set. It is Marius versus Hazard. Marius with a chance to win a map in Season 3. Again, I don't believe he has a win in Season 3. I could be wrong. But would mean that Marius then has at least one win in every season of Mini RPG of the week. And Hazard looking to extend that lead as the player with the most wins. And Marius's time, it looks fast at the moment. It looks like if Marius doesn't make mistakes, liable to be the player to win this time around. Hazard can't afford to fall too far behind on his route. Really needs to start to push. And you can't measure yourself against each other. You don't know if you need to push. You don't know if your opponent has made a mistake. Hazard has made the mistake, I believe. Hazard, I think that's a mistake. I think Hazard has fallen behind. Oh, that's an awkward landing from Marius. He's still going to make it through, but that's a little bit of a time loss. I think they're going to be very close coming into this final section. Marius has much less speed going into this, so let's stay on board with Hazard, who is looking to gain on Marius through this magnet section. Coming through with more speed. I don't think it's enough. I think Marius still finished. Did Marius miss? Marius missed! Marius missed! Oh, he'd done all the hard work. He'd made to the finish, and Hazard snipes the landing. A great time of a 54.7 from Hazard as well. And Marius, at the final trick, will have to settle for second place. Sometimes that's how it goes. Sometimes that is Mini RPG of the week, where it all comes down to the final trick, and from there things just go wrong. But not for Hazard, who has now won and continues to have won more Mini RPG of the weeks than any other player. Add another one to the list, and maybe not as clean, maybe not as precise as some of those previous wins, but it is another win. So congratulations to Hazard. Congratulations to everyone who played this week. We're sorry for making you exercise your brains so much, but the good news is, that's it. We're done. We're out of here. You can head to bed now. I know that's what I'm going to be going to do. Thank you so much to everyone who has joined us here tonight, and to Deployer for jumping on to do some observing. Some lovely camera angles that we definitely would not have gotten otherwise, because I would not have pulled them off. As always, we will be starting Season 4 at some point, so I believe we have our maps to round out Season 3 all locked in, because there's only 1 week of Season 3 left. But if you do want a map for Mini RPG of the week, get in contact with Zetorite. He's always looking for another couple. And keep an eye on the Discord, on Twitter, on all places where you get your Mini RPG of the week news, because details about the Season 3 finale will be upcoming very soon. Thank you for joining. Talk to you all again soon, and congratulations one more time to Hazard for this one. See you soon.
I've been feeling just a little bit low. Got to get back to the show and we'll fly. Yeah. You don't have to feel like you're on your own. No one should have to dance alone, not tonight. You